Listen, right now, there's an 18-year-old kid embarrassing defenders who've been playing professional football longer than he's been alive. And the craziest part? His shooting technique is so clean, so ridiculously efficient, that defenders literally can't react fast enough, even when they know it's coming. I'm talking about Lamine Yamal, the youngest player to ever score at the Euros. The kid who made grown men look like they were moving in slow motion during Barcelona's title run. And today, I'm breaking down exactly how he does it, step by step, so you can add his technique to your game. But here's what nobody tells you about Yamal's shooting. It's not about power. The average Premier League shot travels at about 100 kilometers per hour. Yamal's shots? Sometimes barely hit 85. So how is he scoring from positions that should be impossible? That's what we're about to find out. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why technique beats power every single time. Let's start with something that'll blow your mind. Watch any compilation of Yamal's goals, and you'll notice something weird. His body position before he shoots looks completely wrong. His shoulders are open, his hips are pointing away from goal, and he looks like he's about to pass. But that's the entire point. Yamal has mastered what I call disguised shooting. And this is where most players mess up. They wind up like they're trying to put the ball through the net, the keeper, and the stadium wall behind it. That big back lift, that obvious body shape, it telegraphs everything. The keeper sees it coming. The defender sees it coming. Everyone in the stadium sees it coming. But Yamal? His shooting motion is identical to his passing motion until the last possible millisecond. That's why goalkeepers are always diving the wrong way against him. Their brain is processing pass right up until the moment the ball leaves his foot. By then, it's already too late. So here's your first technique. Stand about 18 meters from goal. Position your body like you're going to pass square to a teammate on your right. Plant foot pointing at that imaginary teammate. Everything says pass. But at the moment of contact, you rotate your hips through and your foot strikes across the ball, sending it curling into the far corner. The keeper's already committed to the near post because that's where your body said the ball was going. Practice this for 15 minutes a day. I'm serious. Just this one technique will double your goal output if you're currently shooting with obvious windups. Now, let's talk about something Yamal does that absolutely ruins defenders. His shot speed. Not the ball speed, his decision speed. From a moment he decides to shoot to the moment the ball leaves his foot, it's often less than half a second. Most players take almost a full second. That difference is absolutely massive. Here's why that matters. A goalkeeper's reaction time is about 0.7 seconds. If you take a full second to shoot, the keeper has already started moving before the ball even leaves your foot. They're not reacting to where the ball goes, they're reacting to where your body says it's going to go. But if you shoot in under 0.5 seconds, the keeper is frozen. Their brain can't process it fast enough. Watch Yamal's goal against France in the Euros. From his first touch to the shot, it's 0.4 seconds. The keeper, Lamine, one of the best in the world, doesn't even move. He can't. The shot has already passed him before his muscles can fire. So how do you develop this? You need to train your shooting to be one fluid motion, not a series of steps. Most players do this. Receive ball, take touch, set feet, look up, shoot. 5 separate actions. Yamal does this. Receive, shoot. 2 actions. Sometimes 1. Here's the drill. Set up 6 balls around the edge of the box. Sprint to the first ball, take 1 touch, shoot. Immediately sprint to the next ball. 1 touch, shoot. Keep going. Time yourself. Your goal is to shoot all 6 balls in under 30 seconds. When you can do that consistently, you've trained your body to shoot fast without thinking. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Fast shooting only works if you know where you're putting the ball before you even touch it. And this brings us to Yamal's superpower. His scanning is absolutely mental. Studies of elite players show they scan the field, meaning actually turn their head to look about once every 6 seconds. Yamal scans almost twice that often. Before the ball even reaches him, he's already seen the keeper's position, the defender's position, and the open space in the goal. That's why his shots look so casual. He's not figuring out where to shoot after he receives the ball. He already knows. The shooting motion is just execution of a decision he made 3 seconds ago. You need to train this separately from shooting. Just during your next match or kickabout, count how many times you actually turn your head to scan before receiving the ball. Most players don't even do it once. You should be doing it twice minimum. Once when the ball is far away, once right before it arrives. That's the difference between hoping you shoot well and knowing you're going to score. Right, let's get technical. Because Yamal's actual striking technique is where the real magic happens. And I'm going to break down the exact mechanics. First is plant foot. This is crucial. Most players plant their foot pointing directly at the goal. Makes sense, right? Wrong. Yamal plants his foot at about a 30-degree angle to the target. Sometimes more. This does two things. One, it opens up his hips, allowing for faster rotation and more power without a big backswing. Two, it makes the keeper think he's shooting near post when he's actually going far post. Try this right now. Plant your foot pointing straight at goal and try to curl a ball to the far corner. You'll notice you need to really swing your leg across your body. Now, plant your foot at 30 degrees and try the same shot. Feels way more natural, right? That's because your body is already pre-rotated. The shot requires less effort and happens faster. Second, his striking foot. Yamal almost never uses his laces for power shots. About 80% of his goals are side foot or instep curlers. Here's why that's genius. A lace shot is powerful, but takes longer to execute and is harder to control. An instep curler is almost as powerful, but twice as accurate and 3 times as fast. The technique is this. You want to strike the ball with the hard bone on the inside of your foot, right where your big toe connects to your foot. Not the soft arch, that's too soft. Not the toe, that's too unpredictable. That hard bone. Strike through the equator of the ball, bottom half, and your follow-through should go across your body toward your opposite shoulder. When you do this right, the ball will dip and curve. That's not just pretty, that's physics working in your favor. The Magnus effect means the spinning ball is actually pushing itself downward and sideways, making it harder for keepers to track and reach. Here's a drill. Place a ball 20 meters out, slightly to the right of center. Your target is the far post, where the post meets the crossbar. That's the goalkeeper's nightmare zone, the part of the goal that's furthest from their starting position. Practice hitting that spot with instep curlers. If you can hit that target 3 out of 10 times, you're already in the top 10% of players your age. Now, let's talk about power without the backlift. Because sometimes you do need pace on the ball, but you still can't telegraph it. Yamal generates shocking amounts of power from what looks like a gentle swing. The secret is in his core rotation and his knee drive. Watch his body when he shoots. His upper body rotates through the shot like a golfer's swing. His hips snap through, and critically, his knee drives forward and down over the ball. That knee drive is what generates the acceleration without needing a huge backswing. Most players keep their knee high and swing their whole leg like a pendulum. That's powerful but slow. Yamal drops his knee down and drives it forward, using his entire body weight falling into the shot. It's the difference between arm punching someone and putting your whole body into a punch. Same principle. Practice this against a wall. Stand 10 meters away. Instead of a big windup, focus on snapping your hips through and driving your knee down and forward as you strike. The ball should absolutely rocket off your foot, despite the small backswing. That's the feeling you're after. But here's something that'll change your game immediately. Yamal almost never shoots from a standing position. He's almost always moving when he shoots, usually at an angle to the goal. And there's a scientific reason this is better. When you're moving, your body already has momentum that transfers into the ball. A shot while running at even moderate speed adds about 15% more power than a standing shot with the same technique. Plus, moving shots are harder to save because the keeper has to adjust for your movement and the ball's movement simultaneously. The best shooting position? Cutting in from the wing at about a 45-degree angle. This is Yamal's bread and butter. He receives the ball wide, takes one touch inside, and shoots while still moving across the box. The keeper has to deal with lateral movement, the ball curving, and the dip. It's basically impossible. Here's how you train this. Start at the corner of the box. Dribble toward the edge of the box at an angle, like you're cutting inside. As you reach the D, take your shot while still moving. Don't stop and set yourself. Shoot on the move. Your accuracy will be terrible at first. That's fine. After 50 reps, your muscle memory adapts. After 200 reps, you'll be more accurate on the move than standing still. Let's talk about something crucial that separates Yamal from good players. His shot selection is absolutely elite. He doesn't shoot every time he can. He shoots every time he should. There's a massive difference. Football analytics people track something called expected goals, or XG. It measures the quality of chance. A shot from 30 meters in traffic? That's about 0.02 XG, meaning you'd score 2 times out of 100. A shot from 12 meters, central, one-on-one? That's 0.6 XG. You should score 6 times out of 10. Yamal's average shot has an XG of about 0.15. That's really high for a winger. It means he's only shooting when he has a genuine chance. Compare that to some flashy players who shoot from anywhere, and their average is 0.05. They're wasting possessions. How do you develop this decision-making? Simple rule. Only shoot if you have at least 3 meters of space. You can see at least 60% of the goal, where the keeper is off their line. If you don't meet one of those criteria, pass or dribble closer. This one rule will immediately improve your goal-scoring efficiency. Now, here's something mad that Yamal does that almost nobody notices. His first touch before shooting is almost always backwards or sideways, never forward. Think about that. When most players receive the ball in a shooting position, they touch it forward toward goal. Seems logical, but Yamal touches it back or square. Why? Because a forward touch takes you closer to the defender and keeper. They can close you down. A backward or sideways touch creates space. The defender expects you to go forward, so they commit that way. When you go back or sideways, you just created an extra meter of space. And in shooting, 1 meter is the difference between scoring and getting blocked. Try this in your next game. When you receive the ball 20 meters out facing goal, instead of touching forward, touch sideways at 90 degrees. The defender will continue their momentum forward. You now have space and a different angle. This works so consistently, it feels like cheating. All right, let's talk about the mental side. Because Yamal's confidence is off the charts, and that's not just natural talent. Confidence in shooting comes from one thing: successful reps. Your brain needs to believe you can score before your body can do it consistently. Sports psychologists call this self-efficacy. It's built through successful experiences. Every time you score in training, your brain logs it. After enough successful reps, your brain starts expecting success. That expectation changes your body language, your decision-making, everything. Here's how to build it properly. Don't just practice shooting randomly. Create specific scenarios, then repeat them until you succeed 10 times. Maybe it's cutting in from the right wing and curling far post. Do it until you score 10 times. Your brain now has evidence that you can do this in a match. Compare that to just smashing 50 balls from anywhere. You might score 10 times, but your brain logs it as 20% success rate. Not great, but if you score 10 times from 10 specific scenarios, your brain logs that as mastery. When that situation appears in a match, your brain says, we've done this before, we know how this ends. Let's talk about Yamal's weaker foot for a second, because this is actually crucial. He's left-footed, but he'll happily shoot with his right in situations where it's the better option. And his right foot technique is identical to his left. Same plant foot angle, same strike point, same follow-through. Most players have a strong foot and a weak foot. Yamal has a strong foot and a slightly less strong foot. That's the mentality you need. Your weaker foot shouldn't be for emergencies only. It should be ready to use whenever it's the better option. The fastest way to develop this? Every shooting drill you do it twice. Once with your strong foot, once with your weak foot. Not 80-20, not 70-30ths, 50-50. Do this for 3 months and your weak foot will be genuinely dangerous. Do this for a year and defenders won't even know which foot you prefer. Here's something that'll save you years of wasted practice. Yamal doesn't practice shooting from everywhere on the pitch. He's identified his zones, the areas where he gets the most shooting opportunities in actual matches. For him, that's the right half space, 16 to 22 meters out. That's where probably 60% of his goals come from. You need to identify your zones. Watch your last 5 matches or think about where you receive the ball most often. Maybe you're a striker who gets chances in the 6-yard box. Maybe you're a midfielder who shoots from outside the box. Whatever it is, that's your zone. Practice 80% of your shooting from there. This is way more efficient than practicing shooting from everywhere. You're building specific muscle memory for the exact situation you'll face in matches. A striker doesn't need to practice 30-meter screamers. A center mid doesn't need to practice one-on-ones from 6 meters. Focus on what you'll actually use, right? We need to talk about dealing with pressure, because Yamal scores important goals in massive matches with 80,000 people watching. That's not luck. That's trained composure. When you're under pressure, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones make you faster and stronger, but they also make your fine motor control worse. That's why players blaze shots over the bar in big moments. Their body is in fight or flight mode, and they can't execute precise technique. The way to combat this? Breathing and routine. Yamal has a pre-shot routine that's visible if you watch closely. As he's setting up to shoot, he takes one quick breath in, then shoots on the exhale. That exhale triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, which calms you down. It's a tiny thing, but it works. Develop your own routine. Maybe it's one breath. Maybe it's a quick glance at the target. Maybe it's a specific thought. Whatever it is, do it every single time in training. Then when you're in a match with pressure, your routine tricks your brain into thinking this is just another rep. Familiarity reduces anxiety. Let's get into game situations. Here's a classic Yamal scenario. He's out wide. Defender is closing him down fast. Keeper is set. Far post looks impossible. Most wingers either panic pass backward or take a desperation shot near post. Yamal does something different. He uses the defender's momentum against them. As the defender commits to block the obvious near-post shot, Yamal shifts the ball slightly forward and inside with his first touch. The defender can't change direction fast enough. Now, Yamal has a clear sight of the far post, and the keeper is still positioned for near post. Goal. The key is that first touch has to be precisely weighted. Too soft, and the defender recovers. Too heavy, and you lose the angle. Practice this. Dribble toward the corner flag. Have a friend sprint at you from the side like a defender closing down. As they commit, touch the ball forward and inside of 45 degrees, then shoot. This exact scenario happens in every match if you play on the wing. Here's something that absolutely levels up your finishing: understanding keeper psychology. Yamal clearly does. Keepers are trained to position themselves based on angles. If you're shooting from the right side of the box, the keeper will shade toward their right post because that's the near post, and most players shoot near post. So here's the exploit. If you're on the right side of the box and you can shape your body to look like you're shooting near post, but actually go far post, you've basically scored already. The keeper can't get across in time. How do you sell the near post fake? Plant foot points near post, shoulders point near post, but at the last second, your striking foot comes across the ball and sends it far post. This is exactly what Yamal does against Granada. Everything about his body says near post. Even the commentators call for a near post shot. Then he curls it far post. Keeper doesn't even dive. One more thing about keepers: they cheat. Not like breaking the rules, but they position themselves slightly off-center based on probabilities. If you're left-footed on the right wing, the keeper knows you probably want to curl it far post. So they cheat a step that direction. Elite players like Yamal recognize this and shoot near post instead. It's like poker. You're playing the opponent, not just the situation. Practice this awareness. When you're shooting in training, imagine where a smart keeper would position themselves. Then shoot the opposite side. Train yourself to punish keepers who guess. Final technique point: the low-driven shot. Yamal uses this more than any other young player I've watched. When most players want power, they try to lift the ball. But Yamal keeps it low and hard. This is actually way more effective. Here's why. Keepers are trained to deal with shots at chest and head height. That's their wheelhouse. But a ball fired low into the corner at pace, that requires them to get down fast and extend. It's physically much harder to save. The technique: strike through the top half of the ball, not the bottom half. Your follow-through should go downward, not upward. The ball will stay low and actually accelerate as it skips off the ground. Practice hitting the corners of the goal at ankle height. If you can do this consistently, you'll score goals that look simple but are almost unsavable. All right, we're going to end on this because it's the most important thing. Yamal shoots with freedom. He doesn't overthink. He sees the opportunity, trusts his technique, and executes. No hesitation, no second guessing. That's the final piece. You can have perfect technique, perfect positioning, perfect everything. But if you don't pull the trigger with conviction, you won't score. Defenders can smell hesitation. Keepers feed on it. So here's your mindset. When you're in your zone, when you have space, when you've checked the keeper's position, shoot. Don't wait for a perfect moment. That's already the perfect moment. Trust your training and let it rip. Yamal scored his first Barcelona goal at 15. His first Euros goal at 16. He's now 18 and defenders still can't stop him. Not because he's faster or stronger or more talented than everyone else, but because his technique is so clean, so efficient, so well-trained that it works every single time. That's what I want you to take from this. You don't need to be the most athletic person on the pitch. You need to be the most technical, the most prepared, the most decisive. Master these techniques, put in the reps, and I promise you, your goal tally will double. Minimum. Now get out there and start practicing. Because the only difference between you and Yamal is he's already done the work. If this helped you, smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me which technique you're going to work on first. And I'll see you in the next one.